Hello everyone and welcome to the Gran Turismo weekly race guide once again. It's week 37 here in 2021. We're getting closer and closer to Christmas. I said the dreaded word, but here we are at Tokyo Expressway, south in a loop. So this is the one I'm famous technically for, with the old crash with the Aston Martin, you know, at the hairpin, but let's not talk about that anymore. And we're in Renault Clios. This is kind of actually a nice little race, to be honest with you. Let's have a look at the race details then. We're racing 3 laps here at Tokyo Expressway South in a loop. We're in the Renault Sport Clio, the V6, the absolute hot hatch of the century, apparently. And we're on sports hard tyres. It's a grid start as well. Forgot to mention that. You will need traction control for that grid start. So just keep that in mind. I say, Renault Clios here, there's a lot of straight lines, a lot of slipstream, and a lot of action. So let's jump to the race then, and let's have a look exactly what happened. We are then at the start, and you're probably going, it looks a little bit different. I'll tell you what, it does look different. There were a few people who did put qualifying times in. I was trying something new with my recording, and it corrupted. So I recorded the replay instead, because this race you do not want to miss. So start with traction control. You can see the light on there, and then I turn it off just before I change gear, and off you go. So just do that as well. But here we are then with an interesting race. We've got J&B up ahead. Brake balance -1. I always do -1 in road cars generally. So if you're ever concerned about that, you know, let's just put it on that and find out. Good to hear. Not a lot of carnage, to be honest, but everybody decides he wants to go on the inside. So I'm like, okay, I'll go around the outside. That's 1, that's 2, that's 3 overtakes in one corner. Oh, but it gets better. Here we go. Then we're trying for another overtake here as we come down the hill then and up towards the dock section. If you remember this, I did 3 wide at the World Finals here. That was pretty insane. But here we go. In towards the docks we go. Clio on the left. Just trying to push a gap there. Doesn't quite work out. And in we go. Ed just gets it a little bit wrong. A little bit too deep. And we're going to go on the inside of both of them. You can see it in the rear view as well. Pure carnage. Look at that. They're like 3 wide. But I'm up to P3. I have no idea how I did that. Up to P3. What is going on? What a race. Tidge is on fire. At least it's not clickbait. Oh, here we go. We continue on. Then round we go. Fast forward in here. Looking to catch up to Sheepy as we head towards the braking zone then. This is a very scary braking zone. You have to brake much earlier than you think here. And because I had slipstream, not even tried it with slipstream, of course. Sheepy gets it slightly wrong. Somebody behind me gets it majorly wrong. That's Badgers. And we're going on the inside of Sheepy. Up into that P2 position. Not too shabby this really, is it? We've had a pretty good start to the race. We survived all the carnage and up into P2, but that's not the end of the race, is it really? So let's advance a bit further on then as we catch up to Ezenergy. Sorry if I got that wrong, mate. We're going to head towards the dock braking zone once again, and in towards we go into the braking zone, and they're going to get it slightly wrong. So guess what we're going to do? Right down the inside here. A lovely little corner there and up into that P1. Wait, P1 in race A is so rare for me right now. And look at this, we're there. We are there. Don't worry, I'm going to give you a lap guide in a second to explain how to get this P1 OP strategy. I just want to show you this bit because I messed this up on the actual lap guide. Notice how I come into here. I'm letting the car roll. And you just want to accelerate through the corner. If you brake in the middle of the corner, a little bit carnagey. And yeah, I'm going to do that on the lap guide. But we're going to fast forward a little bit here. As you see, I'm about to have a move done on me here now. Down the inside at the hairpin then. So in towards the braking zone. I know this move. Showed off to everybody. But we're going to go around the outside instead rather than be the inside car. Lovely little bit of side-by-side racing there with Ezenergy. And we keep that position for now. Staying in P1 then. What we are going to do then is go into that lap guide. Telling you all the OP strats here in terms of what to do on the corners. So as you head across the start-finish line and head towards turn 1. Up above, you can see the 50 meter board or the highway lines that I always point out. I use the highway lines mainly, but the 50 meter board is there. You're going to brake before the 50 meter board and just before the lines as well. You can see I'm just letting off here. And you want to roll through this corner. Don't drop below 90 miles an hour. That's your goal there. Stay at least 90 miles an hour. 4th gear, and you should be fine. And then we're going to head down the hill and then up towards the docks then. And a little tip, you could just change gear just to go downhill. It might save you a little bit of time. This braking zone is very early, so it's just after the 150 meter board. I've highlighted it because that's what you're looking out for, but just after the 150 meter board, that's when you're going to brake. Don't brake any later because you will go a little bit too deep. Now, you do want to roll off the brakes a little bit better than I did there. And as you come through here, stay in 3rd gear. The car will want to oversteer. That's more weight transfer than power. And I did think I cut the corner there, but fortunately not. As you see it on the exit as well. If I overturn the car a little bit, I get a little bit of oversteer. It is weight transfer. It's not power oversteer, so just be careful of that. So we're going to head to this right-hander then. The 50-meter board or the highway markers, again, I'm more looking towards the highway markers, and you just want to dab the brake a little bit and let the car roll through the corner. And when you feel like you've made halfway through the corner, that's when you accelerate. Now, you see there, I had to brake. I carried a little bit too much speed. That cost me so much time on the exit. It's all about your exit here. Look how long this straight is. Nail your exit. Do not think about carrying too much speed there. It's better to go in a little bit slower and come out quicker than the other way around. So, I'm going to explain as an analogy here, because he did this last lap, you may have seen, and it's going to do it again. It's a lovely bit of manoeuvring here. Stays out the slipstream, goes for a wider line here, so we get a good slingshot through here up towards the hairpin. Stay in 5th gear, by the way. Do not go to 6th. I don't know why I was in 6th there. I realised and dropped it back down to 5th. Lovely little line here. They're going to get down the inside then, carry a bit more speed there. In towards this braking zone. Bang on the 150 meter board. Just brake at the 150. If you want to go for a wider line, brake just after it. I'm going to go for a slightly wider line here, so I'll brake just after it. Because I've got a car on my inside. I'm trying to, obviously, be the last of the late breakers here. Once again, some beautiful, clean racing here with S&Energy. And through we go. I'm actually going to keep that position again. As I say, beautiful racing, though. Absolutely fantastic stuff. I will shout out to you, my friend. So we're going to head up here then. And this is where it gets interesting, because this is my kind of driving that's about to come up. I love these kind of corners. So you're going to approach the 50 meter board here, right? And rather than brake, I just want you to let off. Now, you'll see on a couple of laps, I might have just been dabbing the brakes a little bit. I can't remember how much I showed the previous laps, but just let off. Let the car roll into the corner. Notice here, look at that beautiful stuff. I did tap the brake a tiny bit, like not even a minuscule. So through here, you're just balancing the car with the throttle. Notice how I'm changing the throttle all the time. A little bit too wide here. You want to come back across and just at the 50 meter board, potentially just after it, depending on your line, of course. I had to oversaw the car a little bit, so I'd brake at the 50 meter board. You're going to brake in this corner, stay in 4th gear, and try and keep above 80 miles an hour. I had a slightly wrong line, so I dropped below it. 80 miles an hour is your target there, and then we're going to head towards the start-finish line. Sorry, it's a replay version and not the full live cam. The other races do have the live cam. I check the recording afterwards. But yeah, that's going to be it for this race. Hey, I did all right. P1, happy days. Let's go to race B then, where we have quite a common combo. Welcome then to Interlagos. And yes, it is Group 3. So obviously this used to be, I don't know if it still is or not, this used to be the balance of performance combo. Group 3 at Interlagos. This is where it was all done. So, effectively, you should be able to use any car here in Group 3. Just enjoy the car you like to drive. There's definitely a mixture here of power and handling cars. Obviously, the different sections suit different cars. Let's have a look at the race details then. We're racing 5 laps here at Interlagos. It's a rolling start, and we are on the racing medium tyres. So, pick whichever car you like, jump into the race, and let's have some fun. Here we are then at the start. Hey, look at this. Peugeot RCZ. Now, I'm going to let you in on a little secret here. This is actually my second race. The first race I had to stop after half a lap because I went from 5 bars to 1 bar and it was causing chaos. Everyone was jumping everywhere, so I was like, oh, let's just get out of the way. Let's quit it. The kind thing. Right, here we go then. Brake balance +1. There you go. If you're interested in the brake balance for the Peugeot RCZ. Quinton had put it on the top, so I'm assuming that's why there was far more RCZs in this one, because the last race there was loads of Supras. That's my only assumption. But we're going to get on with the race. We've got PX Cam 20 there as we head down into turn 1 in the Supra. So the Supra obviously very quick on the straights. It's a very good car in general, to be honest with you, in terms of Group 3 machinery. We've got PX Cam here. Obviously does YouTube. So round we go. And where's PX Cam going to end up? Goes towards the left, then goes defensive. And going to keep to that line as well. I'm thinking, should I go left? Should I go right? I go right in the end. They give me just enough room on that outside, so I'm trying to go for the old cutback, and we do that. Now, I lifted just before that I got on the rear end of PX Cam, but I wasn't sure whether I hit him or not, so I did ask after, and he said he was going wide anyway, so we were all golden. But yeah, I was a bit concerned there, but I wasn't sure because I'd already lifted, so bit of a weird one, but, you know, fair move, I'd say. We continue on with the racing then, up ahead, battle for P1 then, and we're not that far away. And, oh, lap guide as well, so heading towards turn 1, you got these 2 red pit boxes. I talk about these all the time. Go for the second one. That is your brake marker. You're normally braking just before it. And then you're going to try and keep a really tight line here. Use a lot of the curb on the left. Opens up the right of this center S beautifully. And then gives you a good line then for this left-hander here. And notice how much time we gained on them because they were fighting. So brilliant stuff there. If you want to know all the tips for the center S. Anyway, turn 2 is coming up as we look for the slipstream as well. On the right side, you have the 100-meter board or the end of the concrete. Whichever one you'd like to use, that's where you're going to be braking usually. You can use a tarmac bit that appears next to the track in a second, but generally there will do. And you want to really use a lot of the curb on the inside. It rotates you a little bit. Avoid that AstroTurf on the right hand side, or whatever it is. I don't actually know what it is. Slippery green stuff, we'll call it that, because it's slippy. So heading towards the double right then. This is where you want to brake before the 50-meter board. I've highlighted it because if you're braking at it, you're braking too late. So brake just before it. You see I'm braking early here. That's just because I was really close to somebody. And then as we come back round, it's a double apex corner. So you're going to clip that right-hander, the second one. And then as you get towards the sharp right-hander, on the left here is the tyre marks. As the tyre mark intercepts the curb, that's generally where you want to brake. I'm braking a bit earlier here because I'm right behind somebody and I don't want to send them to Narnia. But we get it all stopped, and I'm not sending people to Narnia. This left-hander then, just a nice little dab of the brakes, and as you turn in, you just want the rotation, and when you're happy, accelerate out of there. This right-hander, very easy to outbrake yourself. You have this long piece of green on the left-hand side. Pick somewhere in there to brake, really. I normally brake towards the start of it, to be honest with you now. I'm staying in second gear as well. I don't like first gear here in a lot of cars, where you just get wheel spin on the exit. And then as you come out of here, you will need a slight lift going down the hill, especially behind somebody with a dirty air. And as we head towards the last corner on the right-hand side, you have a bit of dead grass. It then breaks up into some alive grass, and then you've got that circled bit of dead grass that I've highlighted there. That is your brake marker. That's what I always use here. So, yeah, sorry if you hate those kind of markers, but I've used it all my time in GT Sport for Interlagos. It ain't changing now. Right, it's time to get on with some racing, don't you think? We've already had one win. Can we get win number 2? Well, let's find out then. So you can see Alex all over the back of Villa here as we head. Oh, goes to the left again and then to the right. But lots of moving down to braking is Alex. And I don't mean that in a bad way, by the way. I was in, like, he managed to control it very well, and it was a brilliant move by Alex there to nail it. When I talk about moving under braking and fighting is what I mean, the person defending. Anyway, we're going to continue on. On the outside of Villa here, we just outbrake ourselves a little bit too much. You know where I say don't brake at the 50-meter board? That's my demo there of it. But we catch back up to Villa then. And you can see how close we are to Villa. I was hoping I was in Alex's slipstream. Not quite in it, unfortunately. So I have to pull back into Villa's. And now I wanted to go left here as much as possible. Villa would not have it at all. So stays very sharp left there. In towards the braking zone we go. I thought Villa had outbroke himself completely here, but managed to stop it. I go on the inside, which will then, well, I was going for a cutback, but Villa defends it very well. Read the situation very nicely because I was expecting Villa to really go deep then into the second part of the Center S and doesn't. And yeah, stuck behind still at this moment in time. So we're going to look around the outside at this left hand. A very dangerous move to do. As you can see, we get alongside. We're actually ahead there for a brief moment. Unfortunately, Villa's just going to understeer a bit too much there. Took me off onto the slippery stuff, and I have to lift off to really back out of that. Just a small mistake. He does apologise with the hazards. We carry on racing. That is racing sometimes. We all make mistakes. Heading towards the lap at first. Turn last lap, and Villa goes for the move down the inside. A little bit of contact there. Not sure who's at fault or anything there, but hey, they're having some good racing here, Alex and Villa. And we want to get involved as well. And Senna behind is captain as well. Diogo Senna. So round we go. You can see, look at it. Villa very far to left here. Alex, once again, probably going to go left and right here. Let's have a look. I can't remember exactly. Trying to get Villa to move over. Doesn't. Villa's very, very, very determined to keep that inside line everywhere you go. But Alex leaves the door open a little bit on the left. So I'm looking to try and get in on the left. But this is the outside for the right. So unfortunately, we're not in the best place here to go for a move. So I do back out of it this time. Whereas last time I did try and go on the outside. It doesn't really work. Now, Alex covers this off beautifully. I was trying to go on get on the inside of Alex, and he read it perfectly. But shout out to you, Alex. Brilliant racing in that West Peugeot RCZ. The McLaren livery on the Peugeot. How about that? If I didn't mention it earlier, Mungino made this livery. So thank you to Mungino and Driver's Room, of course. They're fantastic at liveries. If you want a livery, check them out. Tag them. Message them. I'm sure they can look at a livery for you because they are beautifully designed. Anyway, we're heading towards the last corner then, and we're not on the inside of Alex here at all. Alex has defended this beautifully at the end as we leave that corner. I was hoping Slipstream now, us being this close, was going to like really impact us because obviously we're very close here. There should be no air hitting this car whatsoever. It should be burning hot. We should be catching. We're not really catching at all until the very end, and it's hardly enough, really. And unfortunately, that's going to be P3. But hey, 2 podiums so far. We're not doing too shabby at all. A brilliant race there with PX Cam, Alex, and Villa, and Senna as well. Shout out to you. But that is it for race B. You can have some good races here. It's just very hard to overtake. Let's head to race C, where it turns out it's the complete opposite to what I thought. Welcome then to a track that suits me very well indeed. It's a Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit. Lots of fast-flowing corners, which is my driving style, as you've seen earlier on with Tokyo. You can also see we're in Group 2, which is kind of interesting, but we'll have a look at the race details first of all. We're racing 15 laps here at Brands Hatch. It's a rolling start, and we're only on the racing medium tyres. fuel usage times 2, tyre wear times 9. Now, originally when I saw the details for this combo, I thought, all right, no stop and literally line astern, dirty air. Turns out that's not the case. Turns out this actually is quite an interesting race. So a shout out to whichever Gran Turismo employee came up with this combo because it is rather good. Now I chose the GTR, which you can see in the background. Once again, livery supplied by, I think it was Mungino and I know it was Driver's Room, but I think it was Mungino from Driver's Room again. But yeah, this is an interesting combo because there's lots of different cars in here. NSX is the fastest in qualifying times. Mixture of Lexus and GTR in terms of the race. It's a pretty good race combo, I've got to say. So let's jump to the race then. Let's find out exactly what happened because there is some absolutely just crazy moments in this. And this is where the title of the video comes from. We are then at start. Lexus there on pole position. That's actually key. And then we've got Adrian. Momoz. Oh my word. Momoz is in this. And then we have a few more people in there. So I'm down in P15. Here he is behind me. I've not seen here he is in ages. He's doing a 9-hour stream, is it today or something crazy? I don't know if he's still going now as this video releases, but so you can go check it out afterwards. But here we go then with the start. And I put traction control just to be safe because we're starting on the corner. Brake balance should be +1. You're going to see +2 in my car, but it should go down to +1. It was +2 originally. Because I was unsure on strategy, and we'll talk about strategy shortly as we head into turn 1 then. This is obviously first race, first bit of practice with tyre wear and fuel in terms of Group 2 here at Brands Hatch. So we're going to get a few corners wrong initially, but we'll see what we can do here as Badgers gets all sorts of sideways. I didn't want to pick the NSX because I know it's Drifty Boy as somebody got reset there. That's King Russ getting reset there. That's unfortunate. So that's one person down and one person up for us already. So we're going to go on the inside of Badgers then, just getting that slightly bit wrong, and here he is, following me through. So strategy-wise, by the way, folks, I'm trying to save tyres initially. I'm like, I'm not going to stop in this race. But I say, it turns out you should stop, really. Most people should stop. Max Power had it wrong on the last corner, gets it wrong going into turn 1 as well, so it's all about to get very close very quickly. So I look down the inside here, and Dr. Diarrhea there manages to spot me, so shout out to you. Here he is trying to follow suit, but... the Honda gets a good exit there, and now we're going to go side by side with Max Power into Graham Hill. This is so rare to have clean moments like this through Graham Hill. Shout out to Max Power, of course. Max Power always races clean, and yeah, beautiful bit of racing there. You never really see side by side through Graham Hill. It's incredible. So we catch up to Dr. Diarrhea here very quickly. So they go right, I go left, and they come across here. It's really weird. So this is literally ping distance, I reckon, and that's what caused it. I pushed back just to, you know, push myself back on and let off so I didn't pit maneuver Dr. Diarrhea. That there, I'm pretty sure, was the ping issue I talked about in the do's and don'ts of racing, which I'll link again at the end as we've got a yellow flag up here. What's happened? What's going on here then? Who's gone off? Where have they gone? Oh, it's a P2 starter. It's Adrian there who's gone off. But I think Dr. Diarrhea thought he could come across because on this screen he was ahead, but he wasn't actually ahead. So that was the reason for that. Now, you see in the weaving there of the Spaniard, that's just to get rid of the dirt on the tyres. You can do that if you've got dirt on your tyres. Just weave quickly. You can see it's all getting a bit crowded again here in terms of space. But look at this. There we go on the inside of Leah. And then Iron Bo goes absolutely wrong. Eye of the needle. Oh, the Spaniard goes again as well. Wow. Just threading the needle. Perfection. But it's more like, holy. Yeah, I can't really say anymore. I don't know if I can do this. Holy. There you go. Anyway, we're going to continue on. Then we're looking to catch up to the Indian racer, Afraid racer. We know Afraid does make the top splits. Oh, we're going into a lap guide as well. See, I don't even know my own editing. Turn 1 is the Marshall box on the left-hand side. Just before it, to be honest with you, you're carrying so much speed in Group 2 with the downforce. All the braking zones are actually before where you think. So you see a lot of people out braking themselves here. Turn 2 then at Druids is just before the red mark on the left-hand side. You see Afraid racer also got a bit of oversteer there. So you're braking very early here. Now, I still was out-braking myself sometimes into this corner. Not this time. I was just looking for a line through the corner. But as we leave here, be careful of oversteer. Lots of oversteer can happen there. Heading towards turn 3, Graham Hill. On the right, you've got that curb. Brake just before it and don't brake on it because you're more than likely going to then touch the grass and spin out. So just keep it safe. Keep it to the left. Stay in third gear. I dropped a second here, but it's a third gear corner. It will save some of your tyre wear. Stay in third gear. So we head up to this left end, and on the right, you've either got the green end of the barrier, the one, or what I was using in this race in particular, the end of this curbing on the right-hand side. That's what I was focusing on mainly. And you want to keep quite a tight line, to be honest with you. And the minute you get to the white line, that's when you really want to accelerate in these cars. You will get a bit of oversteer, but try and catch the oversteer a little bit, and it should drift through very nicely. So we're going to head down this straight then and in towards the right-hander. And on the right side, the red mark on the barrier. You want to brake just after this, actually, when you're not behind somebody. When you're behind somebody, you've had slipstream, etc. So it's just before, but generally just after it. And then chuck it in. Try and stay 125 plus miles an hour as we come through here. Next turn on the left, once again, the red marker. Be careful of the curb glitch. Now, I didn't see anybody get it this time, but I suspect it will be there more often in Group 2 than it is in other categories of cars, just because of the way the cars are. Down Dingledell then, and on the right hand side, looking for that one board right there. And yeah, just braking at that point. Try and turn in quite early. The cars tend to understeer when you're behind somebody as you go up this hill, so just be a bit careful there. You can cut quite a lot of that and avoid flipping the exit there because you will spin. On the right hand side then is the Marshall box, and you can just use any part of that, or the shadow. The shadow is worthwhile using here as well. It's in the perfect place there. You can see that just in front of me. Third gear for the left-hander. If you go in second, you will get a lot of oversteer again. Third gear, there's no detrimental effect, to be honest with you, as we head towards the last corner. And you're braking just before that piece of tarmac on the left-hand side. Cut a lot of the inside of the corner here because the car tends to want to understeer, especially behind somebody. But if you can cut the corner there, you will gain some time and just flat out there. And now we're going to go racing with Afraid Racer then. So hopefully that track guide is useful to you. Heading towards turn 1 then. Oh, we're looking down the inside. Not going to quite work out. But again, you can see how Afraid Racer went a little bit deep there. But they just clipped the gravel. They managed to carry a bit more speed than me. But yeah, it was a little bit deep in terms of the corner. And that's deep by me into turn 2. So just be careful of that. You see the oversteer there. I've talked about all the cars ahead getting that oversteer. It's very scary oversteer through here. Third gear. There you go. So I said stay in third gear. There you have. Oh, hello. Goodbye, Italian. As we continue then towards the left-hander. No idea what happened to them, but they got it all wrong. Maybe in second gear, getting that wheel spin. There's Afraid Racer. Full on drifto there. And we're right behind them now. So we're looking for this cursed position then. Can we get it with Afraid Racer? So once again, into here, they're going to go a little bit too deep. You just see that again. So they're carrying a little bit too much speed. Had to slow too much on the exit. And down the inside we go. And we get it stopped beautifully. Just make sure we don't go for the cut back. But unfortunately, they just get across. A slight tap there. We managed to catch the car. But heading up here is very dangerous. So I'll back out of this completely. Afraid Racer goes a little bit too deep, which I was half expecting because we were braking late so often. Turned out to be the case. And there we have it. The cursed position is ours. Happy days. So it's getting to this lap there. I was kind of realizing that the tyres were sort of wearing quite quickly here. And this is where I'll start to then focus a bit more in terms of tyre wear. We'll look down the inside of the Spaniard then. And the Spaniard stays on the very outside there. Very, very, very just like left the door open. Could have ran me a little bit tighter there. But hey, I'm all for clean racing there, Cloud. So thank you so much for that bit of racing as we come out of that corner. And now we've got a bit of a gap then to Tommy. So we will fast forward on here. So if you do help the guy behind, if you feel you've made it. If you want to help somebody slipstream wise, that's what I did there for the Spaniard for the clean racing. So through here, I'm going to come in the pit lap 7. I think you could come in the pit lap 5 or 6 even as well if you want to avoid traffic. In terms of pit stop times, as we see max power coming into play very quickly, so I'll just keep it on the inside here. Just accelerate through the corner. 9 seconds for that pit stop. And it's a very quick pit stop indeed. That's why it's probably worthwhile here. If it was longer, then it would be a no stop, but yeah, it's very tight in terms of that. So we catch up to Bemsey, who hadn't gone in the pits. And it's about lap 9 and 10 when your tyres really fall off the cliff. So we look down the inside here. Wouldn't have really gone for that, but Bemsey left the door open. So I'm like, all right, cheers, mate. Thank you very much. And happy days. We catch that. And then look who's next. It's Momoz. Oh, my word. Can we catch Momoz? 3.8 seconds. Quite a big gap. Momoz has pit as well. So can we do it? That is the question. And can we get on the podium again? Imagine 3 races, 3 podiums. I don't think I've done that very often in the weekly guide. You see Momoz just in the distance. We did catch some of that gap up. Key's just gone. Key's absolutely dominated this race. So shout out to you for that one. As we come through here, though, yellow flag. And there you have it. The Portuguese driver's binned it. I was thankful the ghosting didn't happen there. Up into P3. We get another podium. How about that, folks? Happy days indeed. But what a mad race. There was some absolute crazy action at the start. You will have that in all lobbies. I do recommend pitting. Some strategy in there. You know, you can pit lap 5, even lap 4 potentially if you want to jump around some traffic here. But you've got to remember, it's only 9-second pit stop. So you might come out in traffic if you pit near towards the front. So just be careful of that. But a fantastic race. I'd argue a fantastic week, to be honest with you. So do enjoy this week's racing. I think it's brilliant, to be honest with you. And in terms of content, you now have 2 videos on screen. It's the do's and don'ts of racing and probably something recommended by YouTube. Please check them out. Do's and don'ts of racing is a very good video. Actually, Gran Turismo 7 will be the other video. But that's going to be it for me, folks. If you did enjoy it, like it, subscribe, all that good stuff. It helps me out, costs you nothing, and I'll see you in another video or live stream very soon.